On November 13th, 2022, 4 University of Idaho students were asleep in an off-campus house in Moscow. By noon, they would all be dead, and the man accused of killing them wasn't a drifter, wasn't a stranger hiding in the woods. He was someone who believed he understood murder better than anyone. This is the story of the Idaho house murders and the tiny mistake that unraveled the perfect crime. Welcome. This is the Crime Narrator, bringing you the most gripping true crime stories out there. If you love deep dives, twists, and real investigations, make sure you like and subscribe, because the next case starts now. It was a cold, quiet Sunday morning in Moscow, the kind of town where parents feel safe sending their kids to college, where violent crime is something you read about happening somewhere else. The house on King Road sat on a slight hill near the University of Idaho campus. It was a 3-story rental packed with energy, friends coming and going, music playing, lights on at all hours. It was the opposite of isolated. Inside that house lived 6 young people. On the 3rd floor, Kaylee Goncalves and Madison Mogan, best friends since childhood. On the 2nd floor, Zana Kernodle and her boyfriend Ethan Chapin. And on the 1st floor, 2 surviving roommates who would later become key witnesses. On Saturday night, November 12th, the house was alive like usual. Kaylee and Madison were downtown at a bar called the Corner Club. They laughed, took photos, called a food truck. Nothing about the night felt unusual. Zana and Ethan were at a party at the Sigma Chi fraternity house. By around 2 a.m., everyone was heading home. The house quieted down, lights off, doors closed. 4 young adults fell asleep, thinking they had another normal Sunday ahead of them. But just after 4 o'clock a.m., something changes. Surveillance cameras in the neighborhood later captured something subtle, a white Hyundai Elantra. It drove past the King Road house. Then again, and again. Slow passes, almost like it was studying the layout, watching the lights. At 4:04 a.m., it made what investigators believe was its final pass before parking nearby. Inside the house, most of the lights were off, but one roommate, later identified in court documents as DM, was still awake. She heard what sounded like someone playing with the dog upstairs. Then she heard a voice say something chilling. "It's okay. I'm going to help you." At 4:17 a.m., a nearby security camera picked up distorted audio, a loud thud, whimpering, a dog barking uncontrollably. Then silence. Sometime between 4 o'clock and 4:25 a.m., someone moved through that house with a fixed blade knife. Kaylee and Madison were attacked upstairs. Zana and Ethan were attacked on the 2nd floor. There was no sign of forced entry, no shattered windows, no kicked-in doors. And somehow, 2 roommates on the 1st floor were left alive. One of them later told police she opened her bedroom door after hearing noises and saw a masked man dressed in black walking toward the sliding glass door. She stood frozen. He walked past her and disappeared into the dark. She locked herself inside her room. For hours, no one called 911. It wasn't until just before noon that police were contacted. Officers arrived expecting an unconscious person report. What they walked into was a quadruple homicide. 4 young students stabbed to death. No weapon left behind, no immediate suspect. The town of Moscow shattered overnight. Parents rushed to campus to pull their kids out of school. Classes were canceled. Rumors exploded online. Was it a serial killer? Was it someone they knew? Was the killer still in town? Police assured the public there was no ongoing threat. But behind the scenes, they were scrambling, because this crime scene was brutal and strangely clean. The killer had left almost nothing behind. Almost. Next to one of the victims on the third floor, investigators found a tan leather knife sheath, stamped with a U.S. Marine Corps insignia. It had been left behind on the bed. At first glance, it looked like just another object in a chaotic crime scene. But when forensic technicians examined it closely, they found something microscopic. On the snap button of the sheath was a single source of male DNA, one tiny genetic fingerprint. But when they ran it through CODIS, the National Criminal Database, nothing came back. No match. It was as if the killer had never been arrested before. Weeks passed. The white Hyundai Elantra became the focus. Police asked the public for help identifying one seen near the crime scene. Tips flooded in. Then campus police at nearby Washington State University found something interesting. A white Hyundai Elantra registered to a PhD student just 8 miles away. His name was Bryan Kohberger. Kohberger wasn't just any student. He was studying criminology. He had earned a master's degree in criminal justice. He had even posted online surveys asking former criminals how they felt while committing crimes. He wanted to understand the mind of an offender. Neighbors described him as quiet, intense. Some classmates later said he seemed fascinated by forensic procedures. And then police pulled his phone records. What they saw changed everything. His cell phone had pinged near the King Road house at least a dozen times before November 13th. Late at night. Over months. He wasn't just driving by randomly. He was returning. Again and again. Then came the night of the murders. His phone was active until 2:47 a.m. Then it went dark, no data, no pings, until 4:48 a.m. when it suddenly reconnected south of Moscow. Investigators believe he turned it off during the killings, trying to disappear digitally. But turning it off was its own clue. By mid-December, Kohberger had driven across the country to his parents' home in Pennsylvania. The white Hyundai Elantra made the trip with him. The FBI began surveillance. They watched him clean the car meticulously, wearing gloves, taking trash out at odd hours. Then came the bold move. Investigators collected trash from the family home, sent it to a lab, and performed genetic genealogy testing. The DNA from the trash didn't match the sheath directly, but it showed something chilling. The DNA likely belonged to the father of the man who left DNA on that knife sheath. That man was Bryan Kohberger. On December 30th, 2022 at 1:30 a.m., a tactical team entered the Pennsylvania home. They arrested him without incident. The criminology PhD student who studied how criminals get caught was now charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder. For weeks, people imagined a masked predator slipping through town unseen, a professional, a mastermind. But the case didn't crack because of brilliance. It cracked because of a button, a tiny metal snap on a knife sheath, the one object he forgot to take, the one object carrying his DNA. And the irony? He allegedly studied how to commit crimes without leaving evidence. He understood forensic science. He knew about databases. He turned off his phone. He wore gloves. He cleaned his car. But he couldn't erase that microscopic trace. One drop of DNA on a sheath he thought was just another piece of gear. That was the mistake. In 2003, a grand jury indicted Bryan Kohberger on 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of burglary. Prosecutors are seeking the death penalty. As of now, he has pleaded not guilty, and trial proceedings are ongoing. The quiet college town of Moscow still carries the weight of that night. 4 lives ended. A community forever changed, and a chilling reminder that sometimes the smallest mistake is all it takes to expose someone who thought they were invisible.